You're listening to Midlife Side Quest, the Over the Hill Gaming Podcast. Here's your host, John Wall.
It's Wednesday, January 3rd, and welcome to Game of the Year week on Midlife Side Quest, the Over the Hill video game podcast. My name is John Wall, and every day this week I am counting down my favorite games of 2023, as well as highlighting some of the other things that brought me joy this last year. And I am happy to have you here today because on this episode, I'm going to be talking about my picks for the number 6 and number 5 games of the year. And to make sure that you never miss an episode, go ahead and subscribe to the show, which is available on all major platforms, including Spotify and YouTube. And I would greatly appreciate it if you left a review while you're there because that helps to spread the word about the show. Also, if you'd like to chat about today's episode or just talk about games, you can find me on Threads and Facebook by searching for Midlife Side Quest. So every day this week, I'm opening up the episode by sending out some positive vibes, like I usually do, but this week, those vibes are going out to one of my favorite developers of the year. Developers who created amazing pieces of entertainment for us, and I want to take this time to thank them for all of their hard work and dedication. And this week's positive vibes are going out to Avalanche Software. Avalanche has been around for many years, having cut their teeth on Mortal Kombat ports back in the 90s, and they were probably most known for their work on the Disney Infinity series before this year, which I don't think we appreciated enough when it came out back in the Toys to Life heyday. But it wasn't until this year that they proved that they had what it takes to create a big AAA, high-polished blockbuster with the release of Hogwarts Legacy. Now, I don't know how you draw a line between the work that they did on, Cars 2 or Tak and the Power of Juju to what they pulled off this year, but Hogwarts is a wildly impressive feat that finally gave Harry Potter fans the game that they had been waiting for. So, great job, Avalanche. Thank you so much, and I can't wait to see what you do next. All right, so here we are on day 3 of the Midlife Side Quest Game of the Year episodes, and here is where we stand so far. At number 10, I picked Final Fantasy XVI. At 9, there was Coral Island. Hi-Fi Rush took the number 8 spot, and at number 7 was Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Some truly awesome games to kick off the start of this list, and a reminder that I am so glad that I decided to expand my list to 10 games this year. It would have been so hard to leave some of these games off the list, games that in an ordinary year would probably have landed way, way higher, definitely would have landed much higher on the list. But 2023 wasn't an ordinary year. It was wall-to-wall bangers, and the first game on the list today features everyone's favorite wall crawler. Spider-Man 2 from Insomniac Games lands at the number 6 spot. Insomniac proved once again that they are the crown jewel of PlayStation's first-party studios, bringing an almost unprecedented level of skill to every aspect of this game, from the performance capture to the visuals. They are just operating on a whole other level. The sequel picks up where the original left off, as well as the great Miles Morales game. If you haven't played that, go check it out. There are now 2 full-fledged Spider-Mans in New York City, and the game lets you seamlessly switch back and forth between Peter and Miles so that you can focus on whichever hero you like playing as more. There are some missions which will force you to do one or the other, but otherwise you can pick and choose who you want to play as. I chose mostly Peter because I just prefer his powers and his feel, the way he moves, but I really, really like Miles as a character and his story. So there's really no wrong answer. In this game, the duo are up against Venom, who I freely admit has never been like one of my favorite Spidey villains, but they do a great job of making him a terrifying presence. And there are, of course, some other villains who will show up here and there to cause trouble. Overall, I think they told a pretty good story, even though I didn't quite enjoy it as much as the previous games in the series. Really, for me, what makes these games shine is the outstanding gameplay and the thrill it gives you to live out your friendly neighborhood fantasies. That sensation as you swing between the skyscrapers of New York City and launch yourself soaring into the sky, landing on a crane, vaulting yourself forward. It's just a feeling that few games can match. It is so much fun. And this time around, they also added the ability to glide using your web wings, so you can really just play around the city with how you traverse. There aren't too many games that feel as good to play as Spider-Man 2 does, and even if, I thought the story didn't quite hit the heights of the other games, the thrill of zipping around through the city and the fast-paced combat was enough to swing it onto my list. That brings us to the top 5, and this is where the picks got really tough to work out, and this is where we find what was my most anticipated game coming into 2023, Starfield from Bethesda Game Studios. This game had the weight of the world on its shoulders. It was coming from the creators of Fallout and Elder Scrolls. It was possibly the biggest console exclusive released yet for this generation of Xbox. And there was just this sense of necessity that this game needed to hit big for Microsoft. So did it? I think it mostly did. All indications are that it was a pretty big commercial success for Microsoft. They say over 13 million people have played the game. But critically, it didn't quite hit that game of the generation level that Skyrim and some of their previous games had. It reached just 83 on Metacritic. But you know what? 83 is still a pretty dang good score. And I think Starfield is a pretty dang good video game. This sweeping space epic has players joining Constellation, a group of explorers trying to unlock the mysteries of the universe. And it has you traveling to a nearly endless number of distant worlds and a large number of story branches to go down. Do you want to live the life of a space pirate and attack and plunder any travelers that you come across? Go for it. Do you want to be an explorer, traveling to worlds and cataloging the plant life and the creatures that you discover? Fine. Or you could join the Freestar Collective and hand out justice to any bad guys that you find. There's loads of freedom to play as you want, and I found some truly awesome storylines as I explored. I think, though, that I might have spent maybe a third of my 60 hours that I played this game in the shipbuilding mode. There was just something so addictive about trying to build the perfect starship, and I spent a lot of late nights tinkering. And in that 60 hours, I never even touched a lot of the other features in the game, like base building or the romancing options. I know you can get married in the game. There's so much that I just didn't get to see. It's wild how much is in this game. But don't worry if you don't get to it all in your first playthrough, because Starfield also features what I think is the absolute best use I've ever seen for a new game plus mode. And I'm not going to say what that is, how exactly that works, because it gives away, a big chunk of the end of that game. But it's really, really genius, and it has me excited to jump back into this game and see what I missed, which I'm sure I'm going to do this year because they've already promised loads of updates and new features, as well as the first full-fledged expansion to the game. So that is very exciting. I think the world of Starfield might just be getting started. Each episode this week, I'm going to end the show by talking about some of my other favorite things of 2023 that are not video games. And this week, I want to talk about my favorite television series of 2023. You thought that this last year was great for gaming? Well, oh boy, television was also unbelievably good. There was A Small Light, which was an amazing miniseries about the family who hid Anne Frank. The last season of Barry. Of course, The Last of Us on HBO. There was the Succession finale, Justified, City Primeval. The list goes on and on and on of great television. But for me, nothing hit quite like season 2 of The Bear. I absolutely loved the first season of this show, the story of Carmy, one of the country's best chefs who returns home to Chicago to take over the family sandwich shop after his brother takes his own life. It's an absolute train wreck, and it's amazing to watch as he not only tries to save the restaurant, but show the staff there the amazing talent that they have inside them that has not been used to their potential, all the while trying to hold together his own life, which is falling apart at the seams. Season 2 was incredible, but there were 3 standout episodes to me. In Honeydew, we see pastry chef Marcus travel to Denmark for an internship at one of the finest restaurants in the world and take his talents to a whole nother level. In Forks, Carmy sends his cousin Richie on a journey of self-discovery that turns a man who thinks he has nothing to offer the world and shows him the greatness that he has within. And then there's Fishes, maybe the most intense episode of television I've ever seen. I was just gripping my chair and gritting my teeth. It flashes back to a holiday dinner in which the emotions just simmer nonstop until everything explodes. And it features an incredible performance by Jamie Lee Curtis. So if you haven't watched The Bear, it gets my highest possible recommendation. Thank you for listening to Midlife SideQuest. I appreciate you making time in your day to hang out with me. And don't forget to tune in tomorrow for more Game of the Year shenanigans. And you can find the show wherever you listen to podcasts. And you can show your support by subscribing or leaving a review, or both. And if you'd like to chat, look for Midlife SideQuest on Threads or Facebook. So until next week, until tomorrow, be well and happy gaming.